holiday season is filled with celebrations where the whole family comes together. It can be the right time to have those tough but necessary conversations about estate planning. So we brought in our expert in elder law and estate planning, David Carrier, and your very important friend.
That's exactly right. He's an intern, you know. We're bringing him along, right?
Wow, that's interesting that you have some things to teach Santa too, because he's pretty respected and famous.
Well, we're learning from him, actually.
Yes.
I mean, I got to admit, it is kind of a one-way street as far as that goes.
Well, I love your holiday cheer, David, because you really, as an attorney in West Michigan, you touch so many different lives with the type of law that you do.
Right. Well, you know, one of the tough situations, we deal with all kinds of families, right? And this is a good time. We do all these workshops, and we do extra workshops in this period of time. And people think, well, holiday time for estate planning? Well, yeah, because now the family's coming together, and we all have an image of what it's like to be in family, right? It's mom and dad and the kids and the grandkids and sort of that, you know, Norman Rockwell type family, and we all hope for that. But imagine, you know, that you had kids and they grew up, and then they have kids too. Now you have grandkids, and you think, well, as a grandparent, my job is to spoil my grandkids, right? Make their parents' life difficult.
Exactly. That's how it goes a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's your job. But what if it doesn't work out that way? You know, what if there's, and God forbid, what if there's a divorce? What if there's a bankruptcy? What if there's disability? The fact of the matter is, not everything works out the way we expect. Not everything works out as smoothly as we would hope. And the fact of the matter is that there are hundreds of grandparents in West Michigan right now raising grandchildren. The Area Agency on Aging of West Michigan runs a program called Grandparents Raising Grandkids. And at this time of year, they do a special program called Santa's Helping Seniors. No, be a Santa to a senior. There you go. You told me not to get all so detailed, right? But be a Santa to a senior. Yeah. And this is our third year of participating in that program. Now, a lot of these grandparents are in senior housing. Now, imagine you're in senior housing, you're finally, you know, okay.
You're planning for your future, but yet something unexpected happens, and maybe you have extra people living with you.
Now you're raising grandkids, right? I mean, you're raising kids right now, right? Yeah. So add 40, 50 years, and now you're raising kids that same age. Yeah. Now imagine that. Right. I don't have to imagine it, but, you know, you imagine it. And, you know, what's that going to be like, especially where people are below the poverty line, at the poverty line?
Well, how are you helping these people? We know there is a great need out there, and that exists. And you have these beautiful buckets here filled with great stuff. I have a feeling this has something to do with it.
Yes, it kind of, well, you are right there. You're
so perceptive.
That's the professional there.
She's very intuitive.
Isn't she? Yes. Wow.
You remember that, Santa.
It's that intuition. Yeah, but here's how it works. Every month at the United Methodist Community House in Grand Rapids, the grandparents raising grandchildren get together. And the grants that they receive pay for clothing and food, right? But not for the little extras like, toiletries or dishwasher detergent, that kind of thing. And so at these meetings, they typically give out 1 or 2 items. You can pick a tube of toothpaste or a toothbrush, that sort of thing. And so we got involved, like I said, this is our third year, and we thought we'd get a few buckets of items. So what we do is we ask everyone coming to our workshops in the month of December, and then in the first couple weeks in January, because they meet at the end of the month. And what we ask is that you bring in an item. Now, the first year we had so many buckets, it was ridiculous. Last year, even more. This year, we're ahead of it. But you know something? Not all the buckets are full.
Looks pretty empty there.
See? We got empty buckets. Where am I looking at? There we go, empty buckets. And we even had a few people who brought in full buckets. Can you imagine that?
That's amazing.
Just to drop off. I mean, who weren't even coming to the workshop.
So people can just drop it off in your office. You're on the north part of East Belt Line. Beautiful office that you have there.
Right. 4965, Carrier's north end of the East Belt Line. That's where we're at. So you can drop items off there if you're coming to a workshop, and we've got workshops all over the place. We've got the hometown workshops in Granville and Grand Haven. We've got workshops in Holland, Norton Shores, down in Portage.
And again, that might surprise some people that you are very busy this time of year, but we have people coming in from out of town, maybe people that live in different states and families. This is the time that people gather and to have these conversations and to get on the same page about
that's exactly
what's happening with mom and dad, or what's happening, what do we want to think about for our family, and maybe property that we all own together.
One of the most frustrating things is where you know, one kid is coming from the, well, this is what my friend at work did. And someone else is saying, well, this is what Uncle Charlie did. And someone else is saying, well, this and this. So that people come from very different places where it comes to what the facts are. How does this system work? At the workshop, well, now everyone's on a level playing field.
Yeah.
You can have a different opinion, but at least you have the same facts.
Yeah, we have a microphone on Santa.
I believe we do.
Okay, so Santa, so what would you like to see in this whole situation? You know, we're talking about a great cause here in West Michigan, and you got to be in tune to people's needs this time of year.
All I know is that the joy of giving, and it isn't just that they're giving, but they're also receiving. And there just is a lot of satisfaction of knowing that you're being helpful to someone else, especially when you know that they really need what you're giving them.
Right. There are a lot of studies that show, actually, there is just as much joy in giving as there is in receiving.
Well, I would say even more.
Yeah.
It is more blessed to give than to receive.
It is. So we are going to put this online with all the information on how we can help each other out a little bit more. Also put the Life Plan workshops online.
Right.
You have something else that we noticed as well, and it's like a gun trust type
We call it the
workshop.
gun trust. Jim
What
Hankey,
is that exactly?
Sure. Jim Hankey in our office, he's become an expert. He's West Michigan's gun trust expert, okay? And we're doing these over at Barrack 616. We have an awful lot of folks in West Michigan with long guns, some with pistols, you know, that sort of thing. And it's so easy to fall afoul of the gun regulations, especially the federal law. Very easy to do it. And so with the gun trust, what we're doing is we're focusing more on the special issues that have to do with weapons. You know, we've got folks, I just found out I have a client who's got his basement is a Revolutionary and Civil War museum. I mean, he's got all kinds of, just all kinds of stuff. And we have a lot of folks there. You know, we've got a lot of the greatest generations now passed away, and they've left their war relics and trophies and stuff to family. And can you really have that Luger, you know, and that tank that's been out in the garage? Can you keep that, you know? Okay, not a tank.
Not a toy tank,
no.
a real tank we're talking about. Well, we're so glad, David and Santa, that you could come. Any last words as we kind of close out this segment, Santa?
Yes, Merry Christmas,
I love
everybody.
it.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more EightWest. Don't go away.
Are you wet?